Make some noise for your amazing host.
Welcome back to the gallery. It was a smart move to purchase that 5-week exhibit pass, which means you have total access to the gallery for 5 whole weeks. While you're here, make sure you stop by the live exhibit where you will have a chance to hear from real artists. Take your time on the 3rd floor today too, because we have just received a new shipment of some amazing ancient masterpieces. So let's check in with our exhibit curator, Mr. Coyote, and see what sort of artistry he's gotten himself into this week.
Coming up.
Find out how wisdom keeps you from falling to pieces. Masterpieces. Stay tuned for more of The Gallery.
Looks like we're discussing the importance of wisdom, and I can't wait. Before we can check out that exhibit, let's take a look at all of the things you'll see before then. First, we'll watch a pre-show video, we'll worship together, and then finally, we'll hear today's Bible story. Before you head out on the tour, select the download button below this video to access your Get Real guide. Inside, you will find a map of the gallery, some questions to think about, and other information to help you with your own masterpiece this week. Before we move any further, let's check out this video.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Mail Time here with Mrs. Coyote, and I've got my girl, Renly, that's right, and we are so excited for our episode today. This is the exclusive yellow mailer episode. So we cannot wait to see what is inside these letters on a super special episode of Mail Time. All right, Renly, you ready to jump in?
Yeah.
Okay, so our letters today have come inside these super large yellow envelopes. So I don't even know what could be inside. What do you think?
Penguins?
Penguins? I don't know. Let's see what happens. Let's go ahead and open our first one. This is from Trisha and her grandkids. We have this really awesome drawing of Yoda from her grandson, Kobe. Look at that. What's your favorite Star Wars movie?
Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi. All right, and this is from her granddaughter, Nevaeh. Look at these fun pictures. She says, thanks to Sandals Church Kids. She loves to watch all the way from Texas and drew a great ice cream cone. And then Trisha, she says, thank you so much, Sandals Church Kids, for your live stream and videos online. My grandkids love visiting and watching the show. They want to keep watching even when they're at home all week long. Thank you so much to your staff to make it so easy for our little ones to learn more about Jesus. We love you and Sandals Church. Thank you so much, Trisha. That's such a sweet, sweet note. Here is our next yellow mailer envelope, and this one, feel it, it's actually padded, which means there was some extra protection as it traveled through the mail all the way from, shout out to Fresno, California, our Fresno campus, from Robert, CJ, Evelyn, Hannah, Abby, Ryder, and Shia. We've got these super fun artistic drawings. All right, this one says, Sandals Church Kids is so fun, from Robert, and a fun little smiley face at the bottom. Got lots of fun little drawings. We've got Mr. Coyote. We've got Mrs. Coyote. This is great. Okay, so CJ, he's 7 years old. He loves watching Sandals Church Kids videos, and a beautifully done heart. We're having this one, Shia. She's 12 years old. She hangs out with Sandals Church Kids online. This fun drawing from Travis. Maybe it's a gingerbread man? What do you think?
Yeah, it looks like a gingerbread.
Or it's like a gingerbread octopus.
Yeah.
It's like an octopus made out of gingerbread is what I think that is. All right, let's check out our last one here. Oh, and a super fun, who is this, Renly?
This looks like Louie and Lex.
You guys, thank you, Sandals Church Kids up in Fresno, California. We loved hearing from you guys. Okay, now this next letter isn't technically in a big yellow mailer, but here's why it's a part of this Mail Time episode. Because it was actually written on a huge, kind of yellow, cream-colored piece of paper, so it counts, right? So this is from our friend Tyler. What kind of dinosaur do you think that is?
Stegosaurus.
A Stegosaurus. I think you're right. He's got all those spines all down his back. Tyler, thank you so much for this super fun, huge piece of paper. Love it. And for our last letter, this one also comes from Texas in a big yellow mailer. And this one is from Avery, who is 5. And from Elliot, who is 10. Avery, look at these fabulous stickers of these ballerinas. How fun is that? So Elliot lets us know that he is 10 years old. He watches videos online. He loves the smoothie videos. Do you remember the smoothie video?
Yeah.
It's a popular video where we just drank a bunch of In-N-Out. You guys, thank you so much. We love this episode of the yellow mailer envelope episode. It was so fun and surprising to see all the fun stuff packed inside your yellow envelopes. Thanks so much for writing to us. We love hearing from you guys, and we can't wait to hear from the rest of you.
All right, artists, time to head over to the upper floors of the gallery to the music history exhibit. I ask that you enter quietly and considerately to others as we take a moment to ready our hearts and prepare for this opportunity to praise and thank God for all He has done. This is a great time for you to think about all of the ways God has taken care of you and helped you choose between right and wrong. Let's go ahead and stand up on our feet and worship together.
You wanna be real? You gotta be honest with yourself. If you wanna be real, you can't pretend that you're someone else. Faking it can get your places sometimes, but you lose yourself on the way. If you really wanna live a good life, be humble, be honest with God. Be real, you gotta admit your mistakes. I made mistakes. If you wanna be real, you might want some friends, they can show you grace. We love you, bro. Faking it can get your places sometimes, but you lose yourself on the way. If you really wanna live a good life, be humble, be honest with God, and He'll show you.
the story gallery today, we're talking about a word to the wise from our story in Proverbs chapter 1, verse 1 through 7. While we wander through the exhibit, we'll learn that wisdom is more than just knowing facts and that real wisdom comes from God. As we examine this week's masterpiece, we'll see how God chooses what is right and wrong, and that means we can be wise by doing things God's way. So grab your palette and paintbrush in 3, 2, 1.
All right, artists, let's go ahead and move on to see another more modern collection. Now, this painting is called Our Instruction and Wisdom. Very fitting for what we've been talking about, and I want you to take a second to observe and then tell me what you notice. You might want to look at the colors used. I mean, how does this painting make you feel? What are some of the thoughts that come to mind for you? Well, those are great critiques. I like that you notice the two paths in the background. Now, the artist who painted this said that the two paths represent the freedom to choose what we do with our lives. And did you know that God gives us the free choice on which life path to take too? Well, let's go ahead and see what the Bible has to say about right and wrong and choosing to do life God's way. Last week, we talked about how people like King David and his son King Solomon and other wise people wrote the book of Psalms. We saw how the book of Psalms helps us learn about wisdom through poetry and songs and how real wisdom comes from God. So we know that the Bible uses the stories of real people and poems and songs to teach us. But did you know that there are other ways the Bible teaches us about wisdom? Well, today we're going to talk about the book of Proverbs. Proverbs is a book full of short and wise sayings. Lots of these sayings were written or collected by King Solomon. And usually at this part of the tour, we would give you a summary of a story from the Bible. But because Proverbs is a collection of wise sayings and not a story, we want you to hear them exactly how they are written. So go ahead, close your eyes, and listen close.
These are the wise words of Solomon, son of David. Solomon was king of Israel. They teach wisdom and self-control. They give understanding. They will teach you how to be wise and self-controlled. They will teach you what is honest and fair and right. They give the ability to think to those with little knowledge. They give knowledge and good sense to the young. Wise people should also listen to them and learn even more. Even they can find good advice in these words. They will be able to understand wise words and stories. They will understand the words of wise men and their riddles. Knowledge begins with respect for the Lord, but foolish people hate wisdom and discipline.
These proverbs make it pretty clear that they are all about showing us the right and the best way to live. When you read the book of Proverbs, you will probably see the word wise and the word foolish a lot. And being wise is knowing the difference between right and wrong. But wisdom doesn't just stop at knowing what is right and wrong. It goes even further to say that we have to actually do what is right, not just know what is right. Being foolish is the opposite of wise. People who are foolish don't care about what is right and wrong. They just do whatever they want or whatever they feel like doing, regardless of what God says. They miss out on what will bring them happiness because they ignore what God says is the best way to live. And that's why the one thing to remember is that God chooses what is right and wrong.
Welcome back, artists, to our next stop in the gallery, the exhibition hall. Here is where we'll look at some of the most famous art of all time and how these works can remind us of how to be wise. So we just heard that God chooses what is right and wrong, and this actually reminds me a lot of different mediums of art. So a medium is what the artist uses to make their art. You probably noticed that there are lots and lots of different types of art. You've probably seen paintings and sculptures and pencil drawings and photographs and pottery and poems and music. Now, each of these things is considered art, but they are all different mediums because they are created using different materials like pencils, paint, or clay. Now, the beauty of the art is that each artist gets to decide what they want their art to look like. So let's take a look at how 9 different artists all show the same thing, a tree. So this is how Van Gogh depicted a tree. I love this one because the leaves, they're all kind of pointing up and it kind of looks like the tree is on fire. This next one is a painting by the artist Gustav Klimt. And this one is kind of like rectangular, even though all of the tree branches are circular. Next, we have a sculpture of a tree by Mark Reed. Notice how it's made completely of metal, even though real trees are made of wood. Now, these next photos are how 3 different photographers see a tree. I love this top one because the tree kind of looks sad. There's no leaves and it's very dark. This one on the right is kind of shooting up towards the sky and it feels very hopeful. And this one on the bottom left, man, it is full of vibrant colors. Next, we have a Japanese vase with a tree painted on it. Check out the difference between the smooth base and the glazed drips that look kind of like leaves. Then we have a famous drawing and poem about a tree by poet Shel Silverstein. It's from one of my favorite books called The Giving Tree that is one long poem about a boy and his favorite tree. He draws the tree and uses words to give it personality of its own. And lastly, I want you to listen to the music that's playing. Okay, listen closely. So this music right here is actually from a slice of tree where a musician made the music out of its rings. They took a huge tree, they sliced it horizontally, and they almost made it the size of a vinyl record and used that to play what the tree sounds like. I will never look at a tree the same again. Now you can tell each artist got to decide how to create their version of a tree. They got to choose what materials, colors, textures, and techniques because they are the ones who create the art. It's the same with God. He is the one who created the entire universe, including us humans, just like an artist creates art. That means he gets to decide how the universe works and what rules it has to follow. Now, it would be silly for a painting to say, well, I don't like the way I'm painted. It wouldn't really matter what the painting thinks because it isn't the artist, right? Now, in the same way, we don't get to tell our Creator God that we don't like His way of doing things. He is the one who made us, and that means He gets to decide the right and wrong way to do things. True wisdom is following what God says. That's why our action step for today is that we can be wise by doing things God's way.
Hi, my name's Scott and I make mixed media sculptures and functional art. I want to tell you about a time that I was wise and doing things God's way and not the world's. So life is full of choices, right? I mean, think about this morning. Did you put matching socks on? Good choice. Did you eat breakfast? Are you gonna eat lunch? What's for lunch? Choices, choices, choices. As you get older, and as I got older, those choices just became way bigger. I think back to when I started to go to college and I had to make a choice where and what to study in college, and I kept thinking and listening to those around me, what the world was saying. Go do this because you're gonna make money. Go do this because it's gonna be fun. This is a secure job. Parents told me one thing, friends told me another, and you know what? I said, I'm gonna study art. And that was definitely an interesting choice for a lot of people to see. I had this passion for art that I felt was given to me from an early age, and so I look back and I see the wisdom in doing things God's ways, because I was not expecting my gift and my learning and my talents of making art to be able to impact anyone really directly. I mean, art usually just hangs on walls, right? But during COVID, I was actually able to come along a couple other guys, and we were able to build a doctor who's in the thick of dealing with COVID patients, and yet couldn't go see his family because he had to take off all his clothes in the garage and then run through the house naked, which you don't ever want to have to do that. And so we decided, hey, let's build him a shower. If I hadn't listened to what God was saying and made the wise choice of listening to him, and I just stuck with what the world wanted me to do, I don't think I would have been able to do that for him. So, I mean, just like I chose to do what God wanted me to do instead of the world, you guys can be wise too by doing things God's way.
Hey artists, before the gallery closes today, direct your attention to our series memory verse from Proverbs 2:6. Only the Lord gives wisdom. Knowledge and understanding come from him. Today we saw how the book of Proverbs is full of wise sayings that will help us live life God's way. That's why the one thing to remember is that God chooses what is right and wrong, and that means we can be wise by doing things God's way. You can live out the vision of being real with yourself, God, and others by opening up your Get Real guide to the Now What. Instead of using paper to create this week, choose a different medium or technique. Grab clay, paper mache, popsicle sticks, pom-poms, Legos, pipe cleaners, whatever else you might find to create your own version of a tree. Remember, you are God's creation, so you can be wise by doing things his way. And make sure you're following us at Sandals Kids on Instagram and let us know which exhibit was your favorite here at the gallery. See you next week.